Today on Locked On Rockies, an offseason tradition around here. We head to the Mushroom Kingdom for our Rockies Mario Baseball comparison episode.
You are Locked On Rockies, your daily Colorado Rockies podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Rock on Rockies fans, welcome into the Locked On Rockies podcast for today, the 14th day of February in the year 2025. I'm your host of the Locked On Rockies podcast, Paul Holden, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where you can find your team every day. And if your team is the Colorado Rockies, guess what? You're in the right spot, because that's what we do around here each and every day, free and streaming on your favorite streaming services and on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel, where you can be part of the show. You can fire off your Rockies hot takes. You can let me know what's on your mind when it comes to the Colorado Rockies. If you like what you see, if you're enjoying the show, be part of it by firing off those Rockies hot takes in the Locked On Rockies YouTube comment section. Like the videos, subscribe to the channel, help the show grow. Today on the show, we're having a fun episode. It's my Mario Baseball episode, and I'll explain more of why we're doing that coming up here in just a moment. But before we do that, got to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Download the app or head to FanDuel.com to get started. So, yes, every offseason that I've done the pod, I have done an episode like this where I take Rockies players and I compare them to their Mario Baseball counterparts. Now, in the past, I have just kind of gone on vibes. I've just kind of gone on, what I know about the players, what I know about the game, and then I kind of just that. But this year's a little different. I got stats to compare, and I got stats that I had a YouTube content creator. His name is Matt Gree. If you want to go on YouTube, Matt Gree, MattGree, Matt Gree. He's one of the biggest Mario Baseball content producers out there, and he crunched the numbers for me. And you're like, how do you got numbers? It's a video game. I mean, what do you got? Video game numbers from these fictional characters? It's not real baseball. Well, the cool part about Mario Baseball and the online community that we have for Mario Baseball is that the developers of this thing called Project Rio, have basically been able to create a way where not only can we play Mario Baseball online competitive against each other, but it also keeps stats for all these players. So we know what's Mario's OBP. We know what's, what is Wario slugging? What is Bowser? How many home runs does Bowser have? We have this data. And I play in a league. It's called the National Net Play League. And the seventh season actually just started over on my other channel. It's called Baltimore and Buddies, in case you're curious. But there's a league where we kind of treat it as real as we can. Substitutions, player bench, injuries, all sorts of stuff that we kind of add into the game on our own stuff. There's nothing in the game that does this for you. But this just sets the stage for basically, we had a season, and it's not one-to-one comparable to an MLB season by any means, because this is fun. This is all in the name of fun. But it's kind of interesting, and I think it's kind of fun here to see the comparisons with some of these characters and have some fun. And in addition to our Mario Baseball stuff, I want to know, we've talked a lot about what people are watching. I want to know specifically what you, the Rockies fans, are looking for in spring this year. Is it wanting to see a young arm break camp? Is it you want to see Chris Bryant healthy and moving around and feeling in a good place? So we'll get to that as well. But I put in some of the main offensive threats, or at least the main, I think, 4 Rockies that are on everybody's mind. And I also put the starting rotation here. I sent their stat lines to my buddy Matt there. And these were the most recent stat lines. These are 2024 stat lines, I think, with the exception of German Marquez and Antonio Senzatella, because I picked where their last full seasons, where they actually pitched, a considerable amount for the Colorado Rockies. So let's start here with Brenton Doyle. Okay, so Brenton Doyle last year in 603 plate appearances had a 260 batting average, an OBP of 317, and a slugging of 446. With an OPS, was that OPS plus, I think? Or no, I think it's just straight OPS. 104 OPS, 23 homers, and 72 RBI. So Brendan Doyle, it's interesting here. He kind of shows you that he's a contributor on both sides of the ball. Maybe not as consistent as you'd like. Maybe still some issues, of course, with the strikeouts and some stuff. And he kind of matches pretty well with these stats. And who does he match up with? Well, no one else but the cover athlete himself, Mario. Okay, so in 482 plate appearances in the National Net Play League last year, Mario batted 429, 436, 689 slugging. Now, this is a good little reminder here. All of the Mario baseball batting averages and everything will be inflated. They're going to be a little bit more, obviously, because the offense is much more in video game land. But 109 OPS to match there. 18 homers from Mario and 71 RBI. Not to mention that Mario has an ability in the game called sliding catch, which makes him a really great defender. This is a perfect comp here with Brenton Doyle and Mario. The only thing I would say that isn't a good comp here is the base running and base stealing abilities. That's why I'd say another character that Brenton Doyle could relate to is Yoshi. Incredible on defense, arguably one of the, if not the best defender in the game, mixed with that speed. And Yoshi's got the ability to kind of, get on with batting average, have some OBP, hit the ball out of the yard from time to time here. Not as much as Brenton Doyle. So I think if you're looking to create the perfect composition of Brenton Doyle in Mario Superstar Baseball, that's the one we play, by the way, the one for the GameCube, you would have a combo of Mario and Yoshi into one character. Because you take the speed and the base stealing abilities of Yoshi mixed in with his elite defense, and then mix that in with the Mario's overall ability to just be a solid offensive threat for contact and for scoring runs. Not a bad way, not a bad group to be paired with. If you're being put in that Mario Yoshi tier, you're in a pretty good spot. That's some pretty high level players there in the Mushroom Kingdom. All right, let's talk about the shortstop here for the Rockies, Ezequiel Tovar. Last year in 695 plate appearances, he batted 269, 295, 469. That's batting average, OBP, slugging there left to right. Finishing the season with the 103 OPS plus, 26 home runs, and 78 RBI. Well, we crunched the numbers. We looked at the numbers, and who does he compare to? Donkey Kong himself. Now, what I like about this comparison is the fact that Donkey Kong is an extra base hitting machine. He's really he can also hit you a single. He can get on. He's got one of the best kind of singles boxing gloves in the game. But he's a constant power threat who plays really, really great defense there. And I would say that the numbers, and when you look at the OPS, the home runs, and the RBI, they match up pretty darn well. And I think Tovar fits that the type of thing that Donkey Kong is. Multiple tools. The only thing, both, they're not the fastest guys, but they're not going to be the slowest either. They're gonna, they might not be stealing a lot of bags. They might not be being too aggressive, but they'll hit the ball in the gap and they'll hit a double anyway, because that's what they do. They hit the ball hard and then they play great defense. Donkey Kong actually has an ability called laser throw, which means when a runner is throwing home, or when a runner is running home, Donkey Kong really lets it rip with a laser beam throw to home, super fast. Really great way to cut down runners trying to score from second base or something like that. Exactly what you're looking for Ezequiel Tovar to do. You got the defense, and leadership. I think Donkey Kong is, of course, he is the leader of the DK crew, right? He is a team captain in this game. And now here's Ezequiel Tovar looking to, formulate and create himself as a leader for this team. So I think this is a really good comparison here, because DK, that power is huge. I think the home run numbers matching up there pretty closely are pretty darn good. Same with that OPS and those RBI numbers. Good thing to see there. If you're Ezequiel, that's a good comparison to have. I think another one that might fit pretty well would be Birdo. And Birdo is a pink dinosaur that's got a giant nose that basically works as a vacuum cleaner. It's the best. It's got the highest dive range in the game. It's an insane thing that makes crazy plays. So I think some of that defense kind of fits in there, because Ezequiel Tovar is a better offensive threat than Birdo. I do think that this comparison there with DK makes total sense. DK can play shortstop. not necessarily his best position. I would say the defensive maybe alignment. I think Ezekiel Tovar deserves a little more credit in terms of defense than what Donkey Kong can bring. But I think it's a really good comparison on the offensive side. And especially I think as well for that guys that are leaders and guys that want to establish themselves there. But like I said, I think Berto would fit in there pretty well for Ezekiel Tovar, because you need it to be someone that hits for extra bases, and that's what DK is prime at doing that. If he ain't hitting it over the wall, he's hitting it into the gap there with some thump, and that is certainly what we know Ezekiel Tovar to do. All right, the next two are a little bit more out there, and these are characters you might not be super familiar with. Mario, Donkey Kong, these are names that I think that you're probably pretty familiar with. But there's a character for the Ryan McMahon comparison here. And actually, you know what? I want to go back real quick to Ezekiel Tovar before we go on. I think another character that might be good to compare in terms of some of the other skills is Magic Koopa. Is basically, if you remember from the Mario movie, he's the blue guy with the magic wand. Yeah, that guy, elite at third base. He's so good at jump catching, and he's got a magical range that adds in and brings pitches in. I think that fits the Ezekiel Tovar defense. But I think his ability with his special line drive swing, I think that would also match up pretty well with Ezekiel Tovar. So if Ezekiel Tovar is probably a Donkey Kong Magic Koopa mashup there, if you put those two there, and those are two real great players. Those are two top, I would say, probably top 6 characters, depending on who you ask in the game. So for that to be the Ezekiel Tovar comp, you'll love that. Ryan McMahon. If you played the game Mario Sunshine, there's these guys that got little palm trees sticking out of their heads, and they're called piantas. And what the piantas do is they make funny noises, hit the hell out of the ball, and play some darn good defense as well. But a little bit tricky and totally inconsistent. And that's kind of why I think the pianta, and my buddy Matt Grease specifically says yellow pianta is the comp for Ryan McMahon. Why do I say yellow? Because there are characters that have certain color variations in the game. For example, the red characters have specific pop fly swats. Red Shy Guy, Red Noki, Koopa, Red Koopa, all have different abilities. The green characters all have different abilities. Green Toad, Green Shy Guy, Green Para. I think Green Toad actually has a different one. Regardless, there's different colors for some of these smaller tier characters here, like the Piantas, like the Toads. And here's Ryan McMahon's comparison. Ryan McMahon last year, 242, 325, 397 as his batting line. Batting average, OPP, slugging. Let's go to the OPS. 95 OPS plus 20 home runs, 65 RBI. Yellow Pianta, 380, 385, and I believe that's 597, I think, for slugging. I can't quite tell on my buddy's handwriting there. 85 OPS, 6 home runs, and 20 RBI. Now, this is a guy that doesn't get as much playing time as Ryan McMahon in Yellow Pianta, so the numbers, of course, aren't there. But why this comp works the best is because it highlights exactly what we've dealt with Ryan McMahon. We have seen excellence at the highest level. We've seen greatness. We've seen multi-home run games, or we've seen, 4 or 5 RBI day, crushing it, just absolutely in a groove, seeing the ball well, dominating. And we've also seen frustrating, not good at bats, strikeouts, issues there. That is the Pianta experience in Mario Superstar Baseball. This is a character that if you pick them when you're first starting, you're not going to have success with. He swings with a tree. He makes a funny noise when he winds up. It's very hard to line up. But if he produces the way you hope he produces, your team is in a much better spot to win. Your team has got an added layer of power. Your team has someone who's got the ability to make big plays on third and throw a laser ball to home. This is a guy that has constantly been referred to as, whoa, this guy is the next great thing, the next big thing. He's going to dominate. Also been like, what the heck are we doing? This inconsistencies are frustrating. This is driving me nuts. I'm going crazy here. I think this character fits very well the roller coaster ride that is Ryan McMahon. And it's, again, a player that you want on your team, but a player that sometimes can leave a lot more to be desired. A player that it's just like, why haven't we completely figured out exactly what's going on? How can we put this player in the best position to succeed? And how can we help this guy use the tools, use the research, use what he has available to him to really succeed and put together a full 162 game season. This is a really good comparison because it really is just it's just another way to look at how high the Ryan McMahon ceiling is, but how low the floor is as well, and how much of a reminder it is for Rockies fans, where it's just like, we can't look to McMahon as the Marios, we can't look to him as the team captain in the sense of like, we need to look at him as the guy that's going to do everything for us. We need Ryan McMahon to zone in and focus on trying to do the as much as he can in with his own thing. I think the big thing we've seen with Ryan McMahon over the last couple of seasons, with where the lineup has been, and with the issue, especially with Chris Bryant being out and some of the lack of power, trying to do too much here with this. And so I'm really hoping that this is the season that Ryan McMahon can settle into the lineup, feel a little bit more confident by the hitters around him, not thinking he has to shoulder so much of the burden of the offense, and then they can go and be successful that way. Because the Mario baseball comparison is, you don't want to just rely on Pianta. You need your other people to perform as well, but that doesn't mean you can't count on Pianta to hit you a bomb and a double and get you 3 RBIs. These two characters this comp is really a good one, because if you look at the up and down possibilities and potential there of these two characters. So I keep calling him a character. Ryan McMahon is a real human being, not a video game character. He is a real person. All right, one more character from the starting lineup here, and then we'll go into the pitching staff as well. But we got to take a quick break, talk about the folks that help make this show possible. And the folks that help make this show possible are FanDuel. When the game tips off, the NBA action is just getting started, and there's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. With FanDuel, you can place live bets throughout the game, so even if you miss the opening tip-off or want to bet on a fourth quarter comeback, you can stay in the action. And if you're looking for a bigger payout, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay. Maybe you want to look ahead. There are some baseball futures popping up, including some Rockies stuff that you can check out, because, hey, baseball season knocking on the door, and it gives you a little something to root for here throughout the season. Right now, new FanDuel customers get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. That's FanDuel.com for your shot at $150 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. This is the Locked On Rockies podcast, for free and streaming on your favorite streaming services, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where you can find your team every day. And if your team is the Colorado Rockies, you're in the right spot, because that's what we do around here each and every day, free and streaming on your favorite streaming services. And remember, leaving those comments, being a part of the show, letting me know what's on your mind when it comes to the Colorado Rockies. Best way to help the show grow. We're having fun on today's episode here today. Again, if you're wondering again, why are we doing a whole episode based on Mario Baseball? Well, Mario Baseball is a huge part of my life. It's basically what I do. A big part of what I do outside of my professional life is helping the Mario Baseball scene, the Mario Baseball community. If you want to learn more, there's a few things you can do. My stuff is Baltor and Buddies. It's Baltor and then and Buddies on YouTube. You can find it there. I'll put a link in the description here as well, so if you want to check that out. But the guy that helped me get the stats, youtube.com/Matt Gree. He's really great. He's so stat driven. He can dive into so many numbers, so many cool things, and creates great content. And of course, if you're looking for the biggest names in Mario Baseball content creation, Dinger City. They're a fun league there of people out in Long Island doing stuff. So I love this game. It's a game that I think is very fun. I think if you like baseball games, if you're looking for a baseball game with a little spin on it that's still competitive, Mario, you don't get much better than Mario Superstar Baseball for the GameCube there. And there's a whole online scene, like I said, and you don't even have to play online with people. You can play online with your friends, and you can get your stats tracked and all that stuff too. So say if you wanted to have a league with your buddies, maybe your fantasy baseball team wants to also do a Mario Baseball league, you can do that and get all your stats tracked through the Rio game modes there. So projectrio.online, another resource there. So, okay. We're talking Rockies, Mario baseball player comparisons today, and we were just finishing up some of the starters there. And the last one I wanted to talk to was Michael Toglia, because I was like, let's do someone that's a little interesting. Maybe the numbers are still a little out there. Who can you compare this to? And I kind of like this comparison for Michael Toglia. Michael Toglia is Blue Toad. And actually, I think he would be a little bit better if Michael Toglia was Red Toad, because Red Toad's got a little more thump in his bat. Red Toad's got that home run potential. He's the slugger out of the Toads. And again, they kind of fit that Toglia a batting line, at least from last year, in terms of like, they're not going to knock you away with their batting average and their OBP and their slugging, but they can contribute, and they can and they it ain't no stranger from a big hit. You know what I mean? They're not no slouch. They don't just roll up into the batter's box and nothing's going on. And I think Michael Toglia can blossom into maybe even possibly like a Bowser type of character. Bowser is kind of Barry Bonds level because he gets walked almost every time. So it's kind of like, I don't know if we'll get there. But there's some sluggers that I think that match the power potential of Michael Toglia a little bit more. But I think this Blue Toad is kind of the right thing. Got to in a prove yourself type of mode. Young guy looking to do this type of things. Let's compare the numbers here. Michael Toglia last year, 218, 311, 456 in batting average, OBP, and slugging. He had 105 OPS, 25 homers, and 55 RBIs. Blue Toad in only 83 plate appearances. Okay, so that's I think a key thing here for Blue Toad. Only 83 plate appearances for him in the season. 398, 414, 743 in the batting average, OBP, and the slug. 112 OPS plus, 7 home runs, 24 RBI. You give Toad some more plate appearances, he's going to put up those Michael Toglia home run and RBI numbers. I think that's plain and simple, easy for it to happen there. So why I like this comp the most, again, I like it because Toads are great. But they want you leaving a little bit more, and that means and Toglia has the tools to jump up into a higher tier of character. But we got to see it again, right? We got to see through this season that Michael Toglia is going to be able to take a step forward and become a real dominant power hitting threat. That's when he can become the PD Piranhas. That's when he can become maybe a Wario or a Hammer Bro or a Boomerang Bro. These characters where hitting homers and hitting the hell out of the ball is their whole MO. And that's what Michael Toglia does. We just need to see it again. We just need to see it another season. We need to see him we need to see another, if he does another 25, 30 home run season and bumps up these offensive numbers a little bit, I think you're going to be seeing him be the comp next off season for Michael Toglia being a Hammer Bro, being a PD Piranha, being these guys whose whole MO is damage dealing, is hitting bombs, is dropping bombs. I think that's a good comp there. All right. Interesting little mix here in the pitching department, and we might run out of time before we get through the whole ones, but I wanted to compare here. Kyle Freeland gets compared to Daisy. Why? Daisy in last season, they had the same ERA. I think this ERA, let's see, what was it? Oh, interesting what this ERA. I think this is Mushroom Kingdom ERA. But anyway, the whip, Kyle Freeland and Daisy's whip and strikeout percentages are right there. And I like this comparison too, because at this stage, Kyle Freeland is not your elite pitcher. He's not your best pitcher, right? But he's someone that can win you a ball game. He's someone that can get you in there. He's someone that's not going to probably dominate in certain areas. He'll get you some strikeouts. He's really good at inducing those weak ground balls, right? That's his specialty. And that matches up with the Daisy as well, especially when you look at that K percentage. Daisy doesn't doesn't have a back-breaking fastball or brutal movement that really shuts it down. She's just a pitcher that's going to go up there, throw hard, get that weak contact, and I think that matches Kyle Freeland real good. Austin Gomber, Shy Guy is the comparison here, specifically yellow Shy Guy. Similar ERAs between the two, similar strikeout percentages in whip, 1.309 whip and 1.110 whip for yellow Shy Guy. And strikeout percentages right in that 50. Austin was at 16.7%, yellow Shy Guy at 14.8%. Another situation here, Shy Guy's got a tricky little motion, just like the Austin Gomber curveball. Shy Guy's got a tricky release point with how he throws the ball. He's got a little bit of just a little bit of something that makes him a little different on the bump, that adds something different, just like the Gomber curveball, I think, because when that curveball is on, when he's really spinning that sucker, man, that thing is tough to hit. And it's kind of goofy to watch a little bit in the sense of just, I think it's goofy to watch baseballs just go like, boom, do some crazy motions and stuff like that. I really like this comp. And it's amazing with some of these pitchers, how close their innings pitched and these numbers actually are as compared to the offensive side. Ryan Feltner, his comp, Diddy Kong. And this is, I think, a really good young guy, hungry guy, somebody that's had moments where in the Mario baseball scene, Diddy's been considered one of the top in the business, one of the best. He's also really fallen off and had things kind of fall off. Kind of goes with that Ryan Feltner up and down, trying to find, establish himself as a starter. His team letting him down, not backing him up on offense. And then, but here, check this out: 98 ERA. These ERAs, I should have asked a little. ERA minus, I think, is what these are. I think this is what these combos are. Regardless, Diddy Kong and Ryan Feltner's WHIP 1.337. Diddy Kong's 1.434, and both of them in a 19% strikeout rate. It's amazing how close these two this Mario baseball comp is to Ryan Feltner. Again, I think untapped potential is the definition of what Diddy Kong and Ryan Feltner are here, especially going into 2025. Because Diddy Kong is someone that's, I think, a little bit more on the rise and has people raising eyebrows again. This might be my favorite pitcher comparison out of the whole thing. And this is comparing Herman's 2022 season. I just want to let you know these are numbers from Herman's 2022 season. He comps perfectly with Waluigi, and I love this comparison. Waluigi is one of the best pitchers in the game of Mario baseball. He's a flamethrower. He wins you ball games. When you put Waluigi on the bump, you are feeling good. You are excited to have him there. It's exactly the way I feel when German Marquez takes the bump for the Colorado Rockies. When German Marquez takes the mound for the Rockies, I am confident the Rockies are in a good chance to win, at least in the past. I know that wasn't necessarily the case all the time, but similar strikeout rates here, 19.3 strikeout percent there for German Marquez in 181 innings. Waluigi 17.6% there in 214 innings there. So, there's some numbers where it shows the Rockies pitching staff a little bit better than some of these Mushroom Kingdom players, which is a good sign. But I love that comp. I think they got the similar builds, they got the similar styles of pitching, and it's all about that confidence. Waluigi is a number one in your rotation. That's what a number one looks like, and that's what I believe German Marquez is as well. Finally, Antonio Senzatella matching up with Green Noki here. And this one's a little interesting. I don't know. This one, I think I'm looking for more of a character that can induce weak ground balls, and I think Green Noki is better served as a fielder and more of a bullpen piece. I don't necessarily think of Noki as a starter, whereas all these other ones we've talked about outside of Austin Gomber's Yellow Shy Guy, I would consider all of these starting pitchers. Waluigi, Diddy Kong, Daisy, all of them can start on the bump for you, certainly. But I think Senza maybe, that Noki comparison, they got looks like the numbers don't match up as well. So Senza, maybe we'll have to see what happens throughout the season and get a better comp for him. But I think I'm just trying to think of who I would go with that. No, we'll stick with Noki there for Senza for now. And Noki's also from Mario Sunshine, in case you're not sure. But so those are some fun, just some fun little numbers there from the Mushroom Kingdom. Some fun little Mario baseball comparisons there. I know it's goofy. I know it's and is it hard hitting Rockies analysis? Nah, but we're still in spring. We're still in off-season mode. Stuff's not really as going as it can be here with pitchers and catchers reporting. Things are still just starting to bubble there for spring training. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and then I want to know what you want to see this year for the Colorado Rockies. It's in the spring season. We'll do that next. This is the Locked On Rockies podcast. Welcome in here. Thank you so much for making us your first listen of the day. Really appreciate that. For your second listen of the day, go check out our guy Sully over there on Locked On MLB, doing things throughout the world of Major League Baseball. So, had our fun, had my fun episode talking Mario baseball, but now I want to flip it back to you all folks. I want to go and I want to know specifically what you're looking for this spring? What are you hoping to see for the spring for the Colorado Rockies? Is it certain guys looking happy and healthy? Is it guys getting specific playing time? Are there certain results you're looking for? I want you to let me know over the weekend so we can go over these on the show next week here. What are the benchmarks that you want to see in the spring? What does spring training mean to you? Is what do you like to see when you are watching spring training baseball? Because it's a different style of baseball. It's a different mindset that we have compared to the normal regular season. And with how many different players are going in, with the limited amount of time that some players are going to get, what type of an idea can we get about the Rockies through the spring? What's the main things you're focusing on? Let me know in the Locked On Rockies YouTube comment section. It's the best way to engage with the show. And I want to talk to you. I want to know what the fans are thinking here on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel. A couple of YouTube comments to close out the show. TK says Zach Agnos will be the best closer in Rockies history. Perfect demeanor for Coors. Still has some doubts for Bud Black, though, but he's hoping he's wrong about him. Darling Mesa says, hear me up. The Rockies are winning the World Series. I'm counting on you. If you know what? And if it does happen, you're keeping your eyes open. You're paying attention, and you have the call of the year. Top Crocker says he believes in the Rockies. Ooh, sorry about that. I just had a little dry patch in the throat. And then Hold My Beer says, I've been wrong for the last 3 seasons, but I got a good feeling about this year. Marquez throws a no-hitter in 2025. Love it. Give me a Marquez no-hitter. Love it. Oh, he's always positive. He's due for it. All right. My throat's starting to give up on me. We're going to end the episode here. Thank you so much for making Locked On Rockies your first listen of the day. We will catch you on the flippity flip.